And here we go. So it's Thursday, January 11th already, 2018. And my name is Dee. Just wanted to gather together tonight. Whenever we have these calls, what we really want to do is bring information to you that will be really helpful in helping your clients be successful and helping to move your business forward. So we have an amazing leadership team. You guys, a lot of you guys, they're your executive directors, but we like to come together and just brainstorm on topics. And we just thought about it and we said, we have this great focus group that started this week. We have, so many clients as a group, like 70 something clients starting. So why not kind of walk through the process of what does good quality client support look like? Because the way that we interact with our clients and the relationship that we set up with our clients is really fundamental. It's like the foundation of your house. It's fundamental for their long-term success and kind of setting the stage of what the communication is going to look like and what your role is in their progress. So let me go ahead and mute everybody. 1 second. So we thought we would just pick up and start kind of on week one, all right? Because most of us, whether you're a new coach or experienced coach, if you're a new coach, you're going through the process with your coach, right? So you're doing that team call, the three-way call on how to do the health assessment with the client and how to do a quality share and then how to place their order and send out a welcome letter and that sort of thing. The one thing we recently had come up, and I just wanted to point this out because we've had it happen more than once to coaches on our team since we went to the new platform with Optavia. So if you are on your website, we generally place our orders for our clients, their first order for them, just so we can make sure they get signed up under us. We can order the kit and just expedite the whole process. So the only issue that can happen is if for some reason you are logged into your account or into Optavia Connect at the same time, apparently the order can actually end up going in as if you yourself were ordering and be under your health coach. So for example, like if I wasn't careful, I could be placing an order for one of my new clients and have it land under Susan, under my health coach. So just make sure before you place any order for anybody, just make sure you're logged out of everything. That's just a little systems check beforehand, because it's just easier not to have it happen than to try to fix it on the back end. And in particular, if something like that happens at the end of the month, and maybe you're, that one order is going to make a difference for one of your qualifying ranks or something like that, we don't want to take a chance that could impact your ultimate outcome for the month because we can't get it corrected. So I think we'll go ahead and start. We're so fortunate that we're going to have Susan Geeslin and Julie Apple share with us tonight. Both are very experienced coaches, very, very good at client support. So I thought I'd just let the experts do the sharing. But I think the one thing you're going to hear, the message I want you to hear the most is that the real communication with our clients, it's important for that to be a verbal communication. That we do send content, we do send some things via email or via text, but we need to have that communication with our clients up front. It's got to be verbal. It's how they hear our tone. It's how we hear their tone. And it's how we really make that human connection with people. And that's really what Optavia is about, is that really human experience. And when we're asking somebody to make life change, you just can't do that from text, with people. So Susan, you want to go ahead and take over and kind of guide us from what happens after you place the order with the client and setting the stage and doing that night before call and subsequent steps?
Sure. Thank you. One of the most important things when you're starting a client is setting the relationship. So, think about when you became a client too. I mean, that's what I always go back to is a lot of what I learned as a brand new client. I didn't know anything. I was so confused. I was like, what's going on? But it's great to make sure that you email them a welcome letter with their username and their password in it for their Premier account so that they have it. I always encourage my clients to put my number on their phone because sometimes my clients won't do that, and I'll call and they won't take my call because they don't know who it is. So make sure that you're on their contact list, for sure. And then setting the relationship is making sure they understand the importance of communication with you as their health coach, especially the first week. It's vitally important. So I always tell my clients, because you get the email when their order's been shipped, so you get the tracking number. So, but I always tell my clients, let me know when you get your order and let me know when you're going to start. That's vitally, vitally important, because this is like if you're a client, I have things I have to go over with you the night before that is critical to your success on this program. Because I always like to take it back to my clients of, I want their success. I'm here to help them succeed in their health goals. So I make sure that they contact me. Now, we do have a great system of text messages that I do use, and that's in the Simple Systems, which I'll go into in a minute. But what I make sure is I set up a time. I always confirm it. I like to confirm it by text. Okay, we're talking tonight at 7, right? Okay, great. And then I sit down on the phone, and I make sure they have the Optavia guide. I always encourage them to look at it as soon as they get it, go over it with them, the basics of the plan. It's also important to make sure they have a condiment list. I encourage my clients, print that condiment list out, put it in your purse, put it in your briefcase, put it in your desk, wherever it is, in your car, because if you're going to go grocery shopping and you want to get some salad dressings, great tool for what's on plan. So I make sure they have that. So when I talk to them the night before, I go over the plan, the program, make sure they understand it, understand weighing their food cooked, because some people don't know that, understand the thing with the 3 half-cup servings. I had some clients that thought it was only 1 half cup, and I found that out like a few days later. So I learned, go over that like the night before. So after I go over everything that's in the Optavia guide, the program, so what's important, the 5 fuelings, the lean and green, the water, and every 2 to 3 hours and all of that. I also encourage them to use the Optavia guide, the journal especially, to keep track of their fuelings when they have them, because it's a great tool for them to learn what time of day they're more hungrier than other times. So they're learning about their own bodies and how their bodies react to this program. So I like them to keep track of that, their water and all of that, and to read. Every day has a neat little nugget on there, and that's really important too. Before pictures, super important. They don't want to take before pictures. And I understand that. Nobody does. I encourage my clients, please send it to me with your starting weight. I'm not going to publish it. I'm not going to send it out, but it's going to be crucial. And I had a client recently do that. She's lost 27 pounds, and she took before pictures, and she can already see the difference. When they see themselves every day, they don't see the difference. But when they look at those pictures in 2 months, she's already seen the difference. And it's such a great reinforcement and motivator for them. So before pictures are fantastic. Some like to do their measurements too, and I encourage that as well, because that's a great tool. Sometimes the scale's not showing something, but the measurements are showing something because they're burning fat. So that's important too, and they don't like to do that either, but I really encourage them that they will regret it if they don't do it. Because I learned that from Dee, because she didn't do that when she first started. She's like, I regret that. So I learned that. And that's a great tool as well, because then if they decide to be a health coach, they've got their before and after pictures. You can't go back in time and get them. So it's really important to encourage that and make sure they wear tight-fitting clothes. I had one client, she sent me a before picture with baggy clothes. I'm like, that doesn't show me anything. Get on tight-fitting clothes. So she did. So anyway, so then I quickly paint the picture for them of what the next week is going to look like, how we're going to be in contact the first 3 or 4 days on the program as they get into fat burn. Quick 3 to 5 minute phone call, answer questions, see how they're feeling. And then on that call, I always kind of do a little check. Are you getting your 5 fuelings? What's your lean and green look like tonight? Can you, what do you like? What are you having? How much of this, how much of that? How about the water? How much water are you getting? Because it's really important to kind of set that stage so that they have a good foundation for being on the program. A couple other things. When I do the texting thing, I do a daily text days 1 through 8 to my clients. But if you have clients that are on different days, how do you keep that in your head? So what I do for myself is I have a little Post-it note by my calendar that says, this week you have to do daily text to so-and-so. And I put an alarm on my phone, an alert at like 7 a.m., send the daily text. It comes up with a little alert, and then I go in and send them. Because if I don't do that, forget it. I'll forget. And it's like 6 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't text them the daily text. And by that point, it's not going to help them. And these are really cool. They've reformulated them if you haven't seen them lately. And if you need it's in the Simple Systems, and we can guide that to you. But they have a little video in them. So I recommend you watch it too, because they may reference it, so you want to know what they're talking about. A couple other things is when you're setting this relationship, it's really important to remind them of their why, because you want them to be in touch with you. Everybody's busy and this is all new for them. But if we can remind them how important the health coach is to their success, how being in touch with us is very, very important. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got crazy stuff going on, but just give me 3 to 5 minutes of your time today, or tomorrow, so we can just be in touch, can answer questions, because your success is what I want. And that's kind of what I tell my clients. And then the last thing that I really want to kind of encourage you is listen to what they're saying. I had one client go, oh, I'm going out to dinner tomorrow. Oh, that's a perfect time to send them to the dining out guide. I had another client say to me, I really kind of I saw a recipe that had cheese on it. It was lean and green. I don't understand. That's a great time to send the vegetarian guide. But don't do it all at once, because you're going to blow their mind. They're going to be like, oh my God, this is way too much. I can't handle all this information. But listen to what they're saying and then meet that need. And the last thing I want to say is I encourage you all to go into Optavia Coach Answers, and you can go in by Optavia Learn by topic. And they've got great resources for new coaches, how to connect with your clients, how to start a client. So if you ever need anything real quick, that's a great tool. So that's what I would do the first few days on the program.
Thank you, Susan. What she's been referencing with Optavia Connect and Optavia Share, they're really working on standardizing processes, but everything's not quite there yet. So in the interim, we've got another resource that we use. We generally make the whole thing available to senior coach and above, kind of like what Susan said. We don't want to fire hose you with so much information. When you're a newer coach, there's so much out there. We just kind of like to share, okay, this is what you need when you're first putting a client on program. But we'll post the link. And hopefully your coach, when you brought on your first clients, went over this with you. If they didn't, please reach to that coach or reach to me, and we'll make sure you have the references, because everything that we do is duplicatable, right? Copy, paste, forwards, just pass it along. You don't have to create these texts. You don't have to create the emails. Just copy what's already been done for you and then put it either into a text format or an email format. That's really your choice. I have found it's interesting that Susan said about the daily text, because they did upgrade them and they have little links to short videos. And I found when I send it on text, they'll watch the little video. I don't know if it's because it's right there, they'll do it, versus on the computer. So you can find your own rhythm around that. And I think that Julie is going to speak to that a little bit more. The other thing is, I hope that you heard what Susan said. I think really 2 things I'd like to say is, when you're establishing the relationship with the client, we're almost like on a need to know basis, right? We're going to kind of just paint the picture for them of what's coming next. So when they're, placing their order, or, we've placed the order and we're done, I'll say, okay, here's what's going to happen next. You're going to get a welcome email from me. You're going to get a confirmation of your order, and you're going to get a shipping notice. When your program arrives, just like Susan said, just text me, call me, email me, whatever. Just let me know, because it's real important that we have a quick conversation before you start, because I want to make sure that you start and it's as easy as possible for you. So I try to give a benefit about why they'd want to talk to me, and I also use the word short. And just like Susan said, that night before call, I really try to make that about 10 minutes. If I can, just limit it to no more than 10 minutes. And then those days 1 to 4, where we're calling them, anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So after that night before call, I say, okay, I'm excited for you. If you have any questions tomorrow, just text me, but I'll give you a quick call in the afternoon. It's just going to be like 3 to 4 minutes. But once you start, I know you're going to have questions. So I want to be able to answer those for you. Because what we want is that we want our clients that, like, just like Susan said, when they see your name come up, we don't want them to put the phone down and think, I don't have time to talk to them. Right? Because everybody's super busy. So I always just try to set the stage that this could be short, and here's what you're going to get out of it. And I think if we do that early on, that should serve you well. So Julie, you want to pick up a little bit, add anything you want to what we've already shared, and then kind of pick up on what happens after those first few days.
There we go. Can y'all hear me? So I think that's super helpful. I would echo all that. The thing I do maybe just a bit differently is I send the day 1 through 4 by email. And I'm just in the habit, I attach the dining out guide and the vegetarian guide to my day 1 email, which I tell people when I'm doing the night before call. I say, when we hang up, I'll send you the day 1 email and it'll attach that vegetarian guide and dining out guide. So any questions you have, you can already look at that. So I don't want to fire hose them either. But I find that if I give them that right out of the gate, it answers a ton of questions with me not having to be involved in answering a million questions. So I like just attaching it, just an option that you can do too. I think Debbie mentioned she actually mails it or includes it in the package. So I know there's a lot of coaches that do it different ways. But I like to attach it by email to the day one email. And then as far as what continues to happen, because we're working together with our coaches and we have this team coaching concept, taking advantage of that, I think is to everybody's benefit. And I know when I first started coaching, that wasn't something that any of us did. We didn't have celebration calls. It was kind of like I was on my own with my clients. Dee helped her clients. We all just kind of had our own little islands going. But we've seen, and the company is pretty much, you can just watch all these growing teams and I can guarantee they're taking advantage of celebration calls and they're doing everything together as a team because there's power in number. So when I start a new client or when coaches on my team start a new client, right away out of the gate, it's like, you know what, at week 1, I'd love for you to meet my coach so that we can celebrate. And so I'm already talking about that and showing that so the other coaches do that when they have new clients. And so it becomes, I have a coach that wants to help too, and we're all connected. And in fact, I thought this was really interesting that one of the new coaches on my team, she had emailed a new candidate and it copied me on it because we're so used to kind of working together. And come to find out, this lady was kind of offended that I was copied on the email. And I said to Nancy, I said, well, that's how we operate. We work together. It's not like we're all on our own, because how are you going to learn as a new coach what to do? So I think that's something, is embrace the full program. And that includes the community, that includes all of our coaching working together. So that celebration call is just the first step for your clients to meet your coach. And so what happens is all of a sudden they're brought into a bigger world and they're seeing, oh my gosh, this is fun. And it just creates, who doesn't want to celebrate, right? Like, that's fun. So they've lost 5 to 10 pounds and they're all excited. So why not get them connected to your coach? It takes 10 minutes. The coordinating of it might take longer, but the actual call is 10 minutes. So if you can go ahead and start talking about your coach right out of the gate and then line that up when they hit week 1 and they're 5 to 10 pounds down, just say, I would love to celebrate with my coach Dee. How about I group text us, or I'll put us on a message together on Facebook, and we'll coordinate a time that we can do a celebration call, like 5 to 10 minutes this week sometime. So then you start that thread, and then Dee can bounce in, your new client can bounce in, and all of a sudden, okay, perfect. Monday night, 8 o'clock, we're going to do a celebration call. And then it happens. And so I think Joanna is on here, and we'll unmute you, Joanna, in a second. But what is neat is how the power in that celebration call, because Melissa, who's a coach on my team, told me, and I actually had done a practice call with Joanna several months ago. Joanna was not ready for the program. Well, Joanna ended up being ready back, I think, in August. started the program. And then Melissa and I did a celebration call on week 1. And during that call, it was so evident that Joanna would be an awesome coach as we were talking. And I could tell that on the call. And I was like, she was already talking about people noticing during the celebration call. And so I think myself or Melissa said, well, have you considered coaching? And so that's where this discussion started. Joanna, I'm going to unmute you 1 second. Oh, no, I can't. Dee, can you unmute her? She's the 704 number. You there, Joanna?
I'm unmuted.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
You're a little bit staticky, but we can hear you.
Okay, hold on. I'll take you off. I have it on Bluetooth. Let me switch it over.
Yeah, that'll probably help so we can.
Okay, is that better?
Much better. So when we did that celebration call with you, Joanna, do you remember us talking about coaching?
Yes, and I said no.
Why'd you say?
No, I don't want to do this.
Why'd you say that?
I think it was just because everything was still so new to me, and even though I was getting compliments and results, I just was like, school just started back. I don't know, and then it just slowly started. The ripple effect started. That domino just started falling, and I told Melissa, I said, I'm a goal seeker, and when I have 3 to 4 people who are committed and truly going to do it, then I will go full throttle into it. And literally, I think within a month, I had 3 people ready to go, and so I did it. And so literally within 2 weeks of being signed up, I hit senior coach.
That's awesome.
And it's just dominoed effect since then.
So who would have ever thought that you'd be sitting here as a coach now?
Right. And left teaching.
And not even teaching. Yeah, you're not even a teacher anymore.
Yeah. Yep, not even a teacher.
And that all started during that celebration call, because it planted a seed, didn't it, Joanna?
Absolutely, yes. Kind of get your mind going, start kind of thinking through things, talking like to Eric, who was my boyfriend at the time, and he's business oriented, and he was like, you're a walking billboard. Like, this makes total sense. And really what turned me on, because I had sold Premier Jewelry and did really well with that, but it was the fact that I didn't have to have anything at my house. Like, it was just basically becoming educated and sharing with, planting those seeds, whether people sign up or don't, and not having that pressure. And I love that.
That's awesome. So you're glad you're coaching now, huh?
Absolutely. Well, even like the celebration phone calls when we do it with clients, because Julie's jumped on a couple of times, Melissa's been on with a couple of my clients, and they are just tickled with it. Like, they're like, I can't believe you all do this. And I'm like, this is what it's about. Even though we might not be blood family, we've all been down this road. We've all had our weight issues, whatever it was. And so we all want to be there to support one another. And they just love that. And I use that when I'm talking to prospective clients. I share how, not just a Facebook community, but how, I mentioned Julie and Melissa when I'm talking with prospective clients, and how it's not just me on my own. Like, we have nutritional support, but then I have these 2 wonderful coaches who are my mentors. And people's eyes just light up, because they're like, wow, it's not a dog eat world. Like, people actually care about each other, and they want you to succeed. Because you don't get that in a lot of places. Everybody wants to be on top, and here it's not that competitive drive. It's that let's work together as an Optivia family.
So true. That's awesome. So now, because we all the company started the celebration calls, it just keeps growing. And so one night, Joanna and I got to do a celebration call with her client, and she's also a teacher, and it came up about coaching. Now, whether she decides to do it, that's her choice. We planted the seed, at least with Lauren, right?
Yes.
So who knows what'll come of it, but that's when they're excited. Celebration calls are the perfect chance to be able to start talking about mentioning coaching. You don't have to get into a long conversation, just throw it out. And then you can also do them. Thanks, Joanna. I think we can mute her.
You're welcome.
The next celebration call you can do is kind of up to you. I like to do it maybe like month 1, and we'll go into that more as we go week by week with you guys on Thursday nights. We'll talk about what happens week by week, but that week 1 celebration call, I would make that a must. as what you want to do with your new clients. So make sure everybody has a celebration call scheduled. And if you haven't done one yet and they've been clients for several months, hey, do one now. It's going to be beneficial no matter when it is.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. I think that story with Joanna is great. And I think Susan summed it up well when she said, like, and you did too, Julie, like when I was first started coaching, several years ago, we were not team coaching. And so I personally got into a bubble of just coaching my clients. And honestly, I didn't know how to bring up the health coaching side of it. It just felt weird to me. It felt awkward. I didn't know what to say. So I didn't. So what I ended up doing was just coaching people on the weight loss component, and then letting them go on their way. So it wasn't good for them, and it really wasn't good for me, but it wasn't good for them because I really wasn't even giving them the opportunity, right? We're all on this call because somebody gave us the opportunity, at least offered it to us, and we had the opportunity to make a choice. And so I think that example that Julie gave with Joanna, even as early as week 1, and it's just a touch. It's not, there's no pressure. I mean, it's just like our program. We're not looking to sell anybody on anything, but Julie's a more experienced coach. So Julie could easily, she could hear it right away with Joanna, where maybe one of us as a newer coach might not hear it, right? Because we don't really know what we're listening for. So it's a great learning opportunity for both the coach and for the client. And to kind of go back to what Susan Geeslin said before we wrap up, what I've just gained confidence over the years, and I hope that will help you. Susan was exactly right when she said that clients don't necessarily want to send us their before pictures. So what I do is I don't really make it an option. What I do is everything I talk about is just like, hey, this is what we do. So when I was talking about when I'm painting that picture of what's coming next, when I do that night before call, I'll say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. In the morning, when you get up, I want you to weigh yourself. You can text me that number and just text me what your weight is. And then either tonight or first thing in the morning, just wear some workout wear, something fitted. Go ahead and take your before pictures, and you can send them to me. And just go ahead and send them with your weight. And so I just kind of put it all out there. And then if they don't send them, when I do the next day, when I talk to them, I'm like, did you send me your pictures? Because I'm not sure I got them. And I'll bring it up again. And then just like Susan said, I'll always put it in context of why it's going to be helpful to them. Like, why is it going to be worth going through something they don't want to do, and how it's going to help them down the road. And then same thing like Julie said with that celebration call, just really not making it an option after you've gone through days 1 through 4 with them. Then you say, okay, well, great. Well, Friday is going to be 1 week on the program. So what we do is we do a celebration call. You get to meet my health coach, and I'm going to send a private message right now, and let's go ahead and get that set up for Friday. And I think that, Julie, do you want to touch on that? Like, what's the best way to set up those calls?
Yeah, I definitely think it's easier to do it. And you can ask your coach. Like I asked Dee, I said, how do you want to coordinate those? And she said, let's do it by Facebook message. I have my coach's text because I'd rather just do text, but Facebook message or text, whatever your coach prefers, and then put them in a group. So it's going to be 3 of you, your coach, and your new client. And then message in there, just say, hey, Dee and Susan, would love to celebrate your results. Susan, how's this Tuesday night or the next couple days look for you guys to do about 5-minute call? And then you can leave it at that. And then let Dee write back, or your new client write back and say, yeah, I can do tonight. How's that? And Dee can say, yeah, perfect, 8:00. And then boom, done. So you don't have to you're running back and forth to Dee and then back to your new client and trying to get this all coordinated, and it gets kind of messy. So if you just do it with 3 people, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, just keep it as simple as possible, a 3-way message, and then you're not monkey in the middle trying to figure it out. Does all of this make sense, you guys? All right, good. What we're going to do is week by week. So next week we'll talk about what happens week 2 with the client and how to continue to build that foundation with them. Just a couple reminders for those of you guys in Atlanta. Excited to see you on Saturday for our Elevate Now. Still time to invite, and if you have guests and if they've said they're coming or they're on the fence, tomorrow is the time. You definitely want to follow up and confirm. And a lot of times, even that morning, I'll send a quick text like, hey, Susie, can't wait to see you, at 9, I'll save you a seat. because people will get busy, but if they know that you're expecting them, they're more likely to show up, or with it. And then if you want to go ahead and mark your calendar, you guys, if you haven't already, plan to attend on Saturday, February 10th. We're so blessed that our presidential director, Dan Bell, he is actually, he started the company with Dr. Anderson. He wrote our business plan, great business leader. So he's going to be here for our training on February 10th. And this is a great meeting to invite health coach candidates to, people who are interested in the business. But plan for it now. It'll be in the morning, like from 9 to 12. And I know some of our Charlotte peeps are talking about coming. So we this is open to coaches around the country. And I know we have coaches coming from Florida and different states. So please consider traveling here, and we'll help you with accommodations and getting set up. Oh, so Beth is already offering. She's got a spare bedroom. So there you go. I've got some. So it'd be great. All right, guys, thanks for taking time out of your Thursday night, and I'll post the recording and the link for those daily messages, and you guys have a good rest of the night. Thanks.